Hello, good afternoon. Well, the escaped terror suspect Daniel Khalfife is in police custody this lunchtime after being arrested this morning in West London. It escaped from Wandsworth Prison on Wednesday. Khalife was arrested just before 11 o'clock in Chiswick, which officers were searching after receiving information from members of the public. Now, Sky correspondent Emma Birchley joins me now from Chiswick, and this was the breakthrough that police were waiting for, Emma.
Yes, this was an investigation that had gone into its fourth day, and the police most certainly needed that breakthrough. And it became clear overnight as the focus honed in here in Chiswick that they were getting closer to Daniel Khalfife. There had been a number of confirmed sightings. There had been what are described as intelligent-led activities that had led the police here. It would have been pretty scary for residents. There was a police helicopter overnight overhead here, police knocking on the doors, asking for access to people's gardens, sniffer dogs, armed police, even a boat on the River Thames, just 100 metres or so down this road, a real focus. Then it was at 9:30 this morning that it changed, that the police moved away from where we are. This is the Hogarth roundabout on the A4, a main artery through London, and those police were heading west, so along the A4, and we know that it was at just before 11 o'clock this morning that Daniel Khalfife was finally apprehended and taken back into custody, 4 or so miles away from the spot in Wandsworth where on Wednesday morning around 7:30 he clambered from underneath the lorry which he'd used as his escape vehicle from Wandsworth Prison. So that was by Wandsworth roundabout, with 4 or so miles away from there. But a number of days had obviously passed. The Prime Minister delighted that he is back in custody. He thanked the public for the enormous number of leads that they had provided. We know yesterday we were told that there had already been more than 100 calls to police to help them with their investigation, but clearly there'd been more overnight as the police came here after the sightings in this area. But certainly, yes, relief that Daniel Khalfife is back in custody.
And Emma, the Justice Secretary, Alex Chalk, has said he'll leave no stone unturned in the investigation now as we move forward into how this was allowed to happen.
There are so many questions to be answered. So how did he manage to escape from Wandsworth Prison? It's a Category B prison. Why was he in there in the first place? Shouldn't someone on terrorism charges be in a Category A prison, like Belmarsh, for example? This was a man who was accused of allegedly planting a fake bomb on a military base, of gathering intelligence and passing it on to potential terrorists, also gathering information that could be useful to enemies of the UK. So that was what he was accused of, and he was due to stand trial in November. A 6-week trial is how long it was listed for, and then of course he had escaped. So how did that happen? Was there help from the inside? Was there help from outside? We know that he's said to have strapped himself on to the bottom of that delivery lorry which had gone to the prison to take food. He worked in the kitchen. Did he provide the straps? Were the straps already there? Had they been put underneath that vehicle before he made his escape? So those are all the kind of questions that need to be answered. But also we know that there's an urgent inquiry happening now about the status of all the people inside Wandsworth. Should they be there? And should people under terrorism charges on remand, in custody, are they in the right level of security prison? Plus, it's also important to note that Wandsworth Prison was incredibly overcrowded, one of the most overcrowded prisons in the country. We're told it was understaffed. They are regularly inspected. There is a scale of inspections from 1, which is the lowest level, to 4, and Wandsworth was a category, or is a category 1 prison. Or inspected at level 1. So why was he in there in the first place? All of these are questions that need to be answered, and I should think there is an enormous amount of relief, not just for the residents here, or for the police who've had all their attention diverted onto this, but also from the prison service, that he is back in custody.